English is going to dominate the whole culture, so we're going to introduce our local cultures, especially social equality through the learning process. The people who come from, the students from the poor countries, poor countrysides, a poor family cannot speak very good English, so maybe they are not equally competitive in the learning or in the admission to the universities. And another one, but still, Netherlands, I mean, this kind of policy is from the top down, it's not the bottom up. They say, we want to do this, just as President Lee Kuan Yew in Singapore said, we want to use English as a national official language. That's it. No argument. We just want to do this. If you don't want to do this, you can just leave. Maybe National Central University will say that. We want to ask all the science teachers to teach in English. You don't want to do that? Please do something else. But this is a top-down. Most of language policy is top-down approach. It's never bottom-up. No bottom-up. It's no way to solve the problems. So, Vice President, you are right. Just a top-down policy. Okay, this is Netherlands policy. And they have still they are very effective. Well, in Taiwan, we have a very simple way to the solution. We say, speak English, use English. No, Netherlands have different kinds of way. I'm going to show you. They have 9 models to do that. And Hong Kong, they use an integrationist approach. And they have studies on the effectiveness of using the language. You know, which one? I mean, which one? By using only one language or using 2 languages, which one is more effective in teaching, instruction? The study shows that using bilingual would be more helpful for students. Even some of the University of California, the studies by University of California in San Diego shows that by using 2 languages, their mother tongue and English, students have the better controls of their studies. So think about this one. I'm sorry that maybe it's against our discussions here, but anyway, this kind of, by using these 2 languages, because language, English will help them to express themselves, to develop some kind of thinking. Their mother tongue will deepen their understanding of the subject. Are you with me? So they are helping each other. So it doesn't matter whether you use English in a classroom or whether in Chinese. They can use English in classroom, but they can use the Chinese at home to what? To have a deeper understanding of their subjects. They have more knowledge about. So this is the bilingual instruction. So we don't mean that this is only one English classroom. This is a bilingual. In Taiwan, this will be a bilingual classroom. English in classroom, Taiwanese or Chinese in their studies, helping them develop their knowledges in different kinds of way. So that's still the bilingual. It's impossible because in Taiwan, this is a non-native speaker environments. They can go home speaking English with their parents, with their classmates in the dining room. No, they speak what? Mandarin Chinese. This is the Hong Kong ways of doing this one. Okay? Okay. Dutch models, they are all this kind of. There are 9 types of internationalized curriculum models. Curriculum with the international subject, curriculum in which the traditional original subject area is broadened by international comparison approach, curriculum that prepares students for international professions, perfection in foreign language or linguistics that explicitly address cross-cultural issues or provide training in intercultural skills, interdisciplinary programs such as regional and area study covering more than 1 country. So all these kind of curriculum developments are so diversified to develop student international perspectives, either in language or either in specialty. So they focus more not on language, they focus more on specialty in this kind of global context or in this kind of bilingual context. They're more important, they're more concerned with what? With the content, knowledge. They're not concerned with what? Language. Then it becomes a minor issue too. Of course, maybe you can say that in Netherlands, most students can speak. Not really. I mean, they can speak English, but it doesn't mean that they can speak good English. It doesn't mean that they can have a better understanding in international context. People can speak English in a daily conversation, but it does not mean they are very good at the interdisciplinary study or their own specialty studies in English. It's a different thing. Just to mention that Americans who are not doing quite, my American student was not doing quite well in his paper. Is that right? Even though English is the mother tongue. Right? Do we need language programs? So do you have language programs? I mean, is that a good way of asking all the students, all teachers to speak, to use English in the classroom, and our students are not good enough? Do you need English programs? Do you have English program prepare students for attending a classroom? We assume that all students, all our teachers are qualified teachers. Is that right? Are you? Qualified teacher. We don't have any evaluation programs or criteria to evaluate professor. Once you come from the United States, you can teach in English. Not really. I mean, there are still some kind of skills later I'm going to share with you. So our students, maybe we are worried that the students are not qualified. So do you need English language programs to develop that kind of professors for students? Sometimes we do, but sometimes we don't. It depends on your strategies there. Okay, yeah, strategy there. There. Because the more important thing is that we are not teaching them English. We are teaching them how to English in academics. That's more important than anything else. So what is the more important difference in EMI, EAP? If you want to interpret English into a subject study, you need to know the English for academic purposes. So, okay, what is the academic use? The English for academic use. That is the key thing here. To think critically and analytically and to communicate knowledge and understanding. So they have some kind of skill you have to develop. If you want to develop English program, don't do that with the traditional program like speaking, reading, writing, and listening. Don't do that. Use an integrated program, language program, to develop student what? Don't care about the grammar or the right usage. Think about what? To write clearly, to speak articulately. You don't have to speak perfect English with perfect American accent. That's a terrible mistake. We speak English with accents. All the people speak English. New Yorkers speak English with New York accent. Okay? California people speak, Southern Texas speak English with heavy Texian accent. All people speak English with a certain amount of accent. Don't worry about your accent. The most important thing is articulate. People can understand you. Pronouncing your words very clearly. To read closely, to evaluate, present evidence accurately, to use quantitative data precisely, to apply reason correctly, to engage with artistic creation, expression imaginatively, to work both independently and collaboratively. Okay, this is their goal for so-called language for academic use. Okay, here are the EAP's pictures there. I don't have too much time going through all the kind of details there. You can have a look at it yourself. Okay, and the EAP components. You develop all these kind of skills. First one is, of course, reading and note-taking. They read and they want to take notes. Have you ever trained your students to take notes? No, there are three things. Other thing like university never train our students to do, but they have to do all the time. First is note-taking. We always ask, the students have to take notes starting from elementary school. They write everything. Do we have that kind of training program for students to take how to take notes? No. Yes, I'm going to publish a book on note-taking next year. So you just explain how to take English notes. It's really listening to the lectures. Another one is subject-specific topic language use, guest lecture, individual tutorials. Second thing is what we haven't told our students to do. We have never told our students is to what? To do the good teamwork. We also ask them to do the team project. We never teach them how to do that. And they just work together and try to work out their own way. We never do that. The second one, always ask students to write essay question, but never teach them how to write an essay question. Is that right? So three things are very important in higher education, but we never teach them how to do that. That's the terrible things there. Okay, anyway. So there will be some of these one, reading comprehension, how to present their paper, or how to do the listening and note taking, and how to use the library, a research skill, or even they have some kind of research study project. Those are EAP's components, key factors to the success of this one. What is that? Key factor to a successful EMI program is assessment and evaluation. How to evaluate the program? You have to set up some kind of system to evaluate whether your EMI program is successful or not. Some of the criteria. Do you have any kind of control group and experimental group to see that the people who use English as a instructional language, the people who don't use the English as an instructional language, to compare these two groups on the same level to see that which one is more efficient, more effective. You can do that. You can do that. To see. I have to be honest with you that in Zhengda they have that kind of informal research to tell you that the results tell you that the professor tell me, I don't know whether they have this kind of very scientific research or not, but they tell me that the people who use English have a better learning experience than the people who do not use English, use only Mandarin Chinese. Really. I'm not trying to flatter your policy. I'm trying to tell you the truth. This is happening also in Hong Kong. Right. Okay, this is good for. And so you have to midterm and final exam in class evaluation. You have some kind of questionnaire or class evaluation to see that whether students are getting a better results from their learning or not. Because once you use English, still have the more stress, no pressures. They have a lot of homework. They prepare themselves before they come to the class. They're studying more. They spend more time on your studies. And they try to figure out what's going on in the class. Once they have motivation, the problem is their motivation. If they have some motivation, they come into your class, they learn more than from the class only in Chinese. Are you with me? So that is the more important things. That motivation is more important than anything else. Try to threaten them that if you don't speak English, you're going to lose the job. Or if you don't speak English, there's no way that you'll get the salary higher than $22,000 per month. Is that right? And tell them that SGC hire people, or you want to go to TSMC, they hire people who can speak at least basic English, right? And after that kind of threat works. What I was doing when I was as a dean of culture at the National Zhenzi University, I just download all these kind of job descriptions and job qualification around 104 job market online to tell students what kind of qualification you need in order to get into your ideal companies. English is always on the top of your priorities. No English even for scientists, engineers, no English, no interviews at all. Really. To tell them that you want to do that. Especially it's working for senior and junior. Really. And they will come, and we can force, if you can do that, you can force all your students to do that, even for the undergraduate students. Okay, and student language proficiency. It's a knowledge-based comprehension. It's not a pure language comprehension. It's language-based. So you have to tell them that they have some kind of knowledge. So developing some kind of knowledge there. It's a cross-cultural communication because you use English. It's a critical and analytical ability, or it's kind of global perspectives. So the evaluate students' language proficiency not based upon their grammar, not based upon their pronunciation, based upon their skills for academic purposes. Okay, those are the things that we have to do. That conclusions: content-based language learning, use English for academic purpose or global English, and cultural perspective for this one. Is that kind of better way? Is that kind of better way? It's a bilingual learning environment to check cultural identity in learning. So there will be some kind of. We assume that this is not only English-only learning environment. It's a bilingual learning environment. English in classroom, and for some other understanding, they can use Mandarin Chinese. So Mandarin Chinese is a big help for them to understand better or to improve their communication skill or analytical skills in English conversation. conversation. That's really my conclusion. But still, before go end my class, my talk, I have some kind of tips for teaching English. Maybe it will be using props such as PPTs, video clips, or worksheet, etc. Especially worksheet. Always allow students to learn for themselves. So you can design another worksheet. I do that all the time, right now, even for the graduate students. After my lecturings, I just give them some kind of worksheet to work out some of the difficulty parts, even my PhD programs. I do that. And they will use English. They write the poor English to spread their idea and help them organize their idea. Stop all the time. Don't lecture all the time. I didn't do that today, sorry. But stop all the time. Another one is preparing 50 to 70 verbs for presentation discussion. Academic English is not so difficult. It's limited by the use of verbs and the nouns. Nouns are the terms that are used for your disciplines. The verbs are universally used. So try to use. Do you know how many verbs you need to get promoted to professorship? Not more than 100 words in your paper. You just have a look at your paper. Only suggest, imply, result, review. Is that right? So, and the sentence pattern will be the same. Subject, verb, and that's clause. So, especially for the science majors, all the English has some kind of patterns. So you try to make the best use of those patterns. My suggestion is make the best use of your verbs, because the verbs decide everything. You have the verbs, then everything will come out naturally. So this is the verb just implied refer to state, argue. Oh, Professor so-and-so from California argues that, or this result implies that, suggests that, I try to agree with somebody, or this is the proof, this proves so-and-so, and this requires so-and-so. Be supposed to share with us, guarantee, summarize, explain, elaborate on, depends about, determine. You can just have a list of how I'm going to come up with this kind of verbs for your disciplines. It's easy. Just go back to your textbooks for 101 class. Some of the verbs, the sentence patterns, are generally used in your textbooks. Try to have a list, try to mark out some of those verbs and sentence patterns that you can use for academic purposes. That would be easier one. Okay, using global English as possible as you can. Subject, verb, and object, center of view, sentence patterns, grammar, tense. The only thing you have to know is the tense and subject-verb agreement, because all these things will determine the inference, the meanings you want to express. Or sometimes you will confuse people by using different wrong tenses or wrong subject and verb agreements. And then compound and complex sentence will enhance the quality of your English. So you say if, because, or when, or but. Then those are very simple sentences that you can use for your purposes. Okay, lecturing in English, define the term first in written form. So if you are afraid that your students have some kind of problems, you can, before you, in every course, in every class, you can write down all these kind of terms on the blackboard. Or even you have a list, print out the list of the verbs, list of terms that you are going to use this semester for the reference. And they can have a look at it. And they can put it on their desk to see that whenever teacher mentions this kind of verb, you can have a list of this one. You can have just a list for them. And using graphic table, charts, patterns, expressions as a job or increase dramatic to summarizing your lecture by listing key points at the end. Always summarizing your ideas at the end of your class. The last 5 minutes. Don't worry about teaching too less. Nobody will listen to you after about how long? Do you know what is the attention span from your students? 15 minutes rule, that is now this is a very interesting rule. It's a 15 minutes means it's American rule of thumb that when teacher haven't shown up for 15 minutes, students have a right to disappear automatically. That's a 15 minutes rule. How about 8 minutes rule? People will not listen to you after 8 minutes. That is an 8 minutes rule. That's the maximum attention span for undergraduate students, because they will shut down their mind operation after, and do you know how, there's a scientific research on this part. Because, 8 minutes is the maximum way. Because right now we use a cell phone, watching YouTube all the time. Do you know what's the maximum YouTube videos last? 3 or 5 minutes, right? That's the maximum. That's the maximum that you can, have the patience for this kind of video tape. And for students, about 8 minutes. So every 8 minutes, my advice is that try to do something else, shift to some kind of your, especially in English, in teaching English, this kind of swing will be shorter by different kind of language. They feel tired, exhausted. Really, I mean, when you listen to me, you exhaust your mind, your circulation of your brain cells. It's going so fast. You're going to eat a lot of rice. You have to eat a lot of meat to supplement some of the proteins today, because you listen to me for the whole morning, right? You exhaust your energy so fast. It's true for students too. So you have to allow them to take a break every 8 minutes. To do what? Whatever. To take a job, give them a worksheet, have some discussion, and then they will bring back their attentions easily after a 1 or 2 minutes break. So it will ease some kind of anxiety among your classroom. Don't worry about your poor English. Don't worry about your still poor English. Because by conducting this English in this kind of as a student center, you will be doing quite well. 8 minutes break. Last one. I like this another video tape. Last one. Let's take a look at this one. I mean, anybody tell my purpose of showing this video clip to you? What does this video tape tell you? I always like to end my presentation with a video tape. With the video clips to reach some of the ending of my talk. The last one for anybody, if you can do that, I can give you one of my book. Good. Yes.
Cooperation.
Cooperation. For what?
For feeding each other. In knowledge.
Just publish your book. It's a promotion time, right? This is just a part of your book entitled Using Simple Method to Do the Complex Things, or with one of the major professors. Okay, this is operating on what? I'm sorry.
Collaboration by working together with each other, and maybe to train our English skill by collaboration.
So, do you mean that I'm encouraging you to work together with other faculty members in this in the EMI programs? Do you think that's my purpose of doing this? Is that right?
Yeah.
Do you agree? Any other? Yes.
I feel that because according to the content of the speech today, there should be some students, you encourage students to help each other.
Yes. From the cartoon, I think you should, from your mind, try to help each other. That's a spirit, not technically cooperation.
Any more? Yeah. So you all, yes.
Encouragement.
Encouragement.
The person who encouraged the other people to help each other or to speak English in the class.
Yes. Any more? Do you have any professor from HR? Human resources? No? Or natural science engineering? Okay. Yes, cooperation is a key here, and most of people like to emphasize the helping each other, working together with each other, and doing this one. That's not my point. I'm sorry to tell you. That's not my point. Is that did you remember at the very beginning I mentioned that the EMI is a management issue. Is that right? What does the management mean here? Management means that you must have goal first. Then you have methods to reach your goal. Is that right? So in this video clip, what's the goal of all these people? To have the soup, to eat soup, to share the soup for each other. That's the purpose. So there will be a lot of the ways of reaching the goal. Either you fight for yourself or you help each other to reach the goal. Is that right? So my idea is that I don't think EMI is a language issue. I like to say this is a management issue. How are you going to manage? You need to think in mind, take it in mind. What kind of purpose you want to reach in your EMI class? Do you think that they want to understand this part, or they want to understand that part? Or do you think that you want to improve their English, you want to practice their communication skills or not? If you do have, you set up your own goals in your EMI class, then you have different kinds of tools. You don't have to, ask them to take TOEIC first before they come to your class. You don't have to ask them to go to English program before they come to your class. Then still, you can work out different kinds of approaches to give them help to reach that kind of goal. So that is a management issue. That is the story allegory I just bring up at the very beginning of this presentation about the full story. The full story means what? You have different kinds. If you just pour too hard, it's not going to work. You just push it, it might work, right? You don't have to fight for each other. You have to work together with each other. Whether the professor work together or student work together, grouping them, and they can help each other. And by using that kind of English, the purpose you set up, I think the school has to have a very clear purposes or goals of setting up this kind of EMI class. And it can give different kinds of approaches, either working together or encouraging each other, you just mentioned there. You encourage each other and try to set in some kind of content either for students or for the faculty members, and your EMI will work quite perfectly. That is my point. But I want to say this is a management issue instead of language issue. Thank you very much for your listening.
We still have a few minutes left, right? So, do you have any insights or something that you want to share with me?
Yes, I have something to say. First of all, thank you very much, Chen Jiao for the wonderful lecture. I have several things to share with colleagues. First, I think we should have confidence in ourselves in teaching in English, not only for professors but also for students. Second, I think for science and engineering courses, content is a lot more important than language. It should be much easier. So I think what I said in my opening remarks about teaching English for science and engineering courses, the policy I think is worthwhile. I think we should do that. Third, I have one experience experience to share with you. Several years ago, I taught two courses in English. And in that year, I attended an international conference and gave lectures. I was so surprised that I was so fluent in English. So that's really helpful. Yeah. Not only good for the students as professors, but also for students. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. I agree with your Vice President about these 3 inputs. Yes, I think so. It's not good for the student, also good for the professors. And besides, I think that for science and nature engineering professors, I mean, in that kind of courses, English will be quite, it's easily patterned. And what I mean is that you have some kind of pattern of English you can follow, right? It's not so, it's not like the social science or humanity class. They're quite much easier because you have that kind of pattern. So you have to, it's easier. It's better for you to just dump, or you can just, highlight some of the key words or some of the expressions from the textbook. And before you, maybe the first hours in your class, you can just give you some students some kind of instructions of using what kind of verbs, what kind of sentence pattern that you can, apply to your classroom or to your writings. It's not only lecturing in English. If you ask them to write in English too, or even have some kind of discussions in English, a group discussion in English, that will help them to better understand. Just so I mentioned earlier, it's good for everyone. Yeah. Maybe you have some kind of, how do I say, the mental obstacle you have to overcome. But it's easy, you can easily do it without any kind of difficult stages. Okay. Any comments or insights or you want to share with us? One more question, I just give you this book.
Yes. Yes. As we have known, many French guys, they don't like to speak English. And when I first visited Paris, I have this kind of a culture shock. I expect to see many English or many people speak English, but none of them. But my question is in their college class, do they use English as a teaching medium or not? I really don't understand. I just want to ask a question.
No, it depends. I mean, French people are so ego-centered. They believe that the culture is much better or superior to that of the very vago and secular or low-class American culture. They are reluctant to speak English. But don't be deceived by their language abilities. I mean, some of them are reluctant to speak, but they do understand you. But they have poor pronunciation because the English pronunciation is confused by the French pronunciations. But in some of the French-speaking universities, I mean, they do apply or set up some of the English-speaking programs for international students. And they begin to realize that the English-speaking programs are very important to include the international students. The Bolognian, it's a European, it's a EU's policy of allowing all the students to move around, getting the degrees within 4 years in different kinds of universities. And France